Okay, so now that we've got our monthly checklist, let's break this down into the weekly. And you started seeing me do that already. All right, so let me take a look at my weekly. Okay, so I do have an example here of the weekly, and I'm going to pull this up on my screen so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So here we have, the weekly checklist. I'm going to kind of zoom in here. So here are some examples. Review 1 to 3 potential marketing venues for your art. So as an artist, you're continually trying to find places to sell your art. Now, if I think about the previous goal, and that previous goal that I kind of gave you the example is increase your artwork sales, I think it goes by 20%. Well, this could very well be one of those ways, right? You find 1 to 3 potential marketing venues to show your art, and then you actually contact them. And you notice how detailed that is? That means you get to check these off. It also means by showing that level of detail, it takes all the guesswork out. You know what you need to do. All you gotta do is do the work. And when you do that, you start to develop systems, because once you contact a potential marketing venue, you can reuse that contact letter. You can reuse that contact email, right? So these things become repetitive. It's your weekly. So with my personal business, this was something that I did. And, the first couple times, it did take me a while until I got the template basically set up. It's like anything else. Once you do it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, it gets faster and faster and faster. Okay. And the more effective you become at it, because you're going to tweak what works and what doesn't work, right? All right. Then I actually reached out to clients who purchased and obtained a testimonial. Those testimonials, I would ask them to put on my Facebook page or my Google. And that was just something that I did once a week. And, you've got a template for it, right? So you set up all these things. If you don't have templates for these things, guess what that becomes? It becomes a checklist item, so that you can get it done, and then you attach it to that checklist item. And I'll show you that in the more advanced section, okay, on how to actually do that. But for now, you just know that you need to start creating a bank of templates so that you can easily reference those things for each one of these checklist items. Okay, create additional social media content with the testimonials, so it's basically proof of how awesome you are type of thing. Schedule social media content. See how each one of these even kind of moves into the next one. And that's what we're thinking about, is each one of those checklist items that you do on a daily basis, or a weekly basis. Create 1 to 3 listings on your shop. So this is where we're getting back into another goal that we were just talking about, the red bubble. But in this particular instance, when I created this, create 1 to 3 listings on your shop, this is something that I do in my Etsy shop. I create 1 to 3 Etsy listings per week, because with Etsy itself, I have a goal of 150 items to have in there, because statistically speaking, that's when things really start to generate a lot of revenues, when you have 150 items or more in your Etsy shop. And once you get about 300, then you really want to start dividing your shop into another shop. So things compound and they build, right? And this is a long game, guys, long game, okay? Because we've got the end vision. That's the long game, the end vision, all right? Create an engaging article about a new art piece. So this is also end game, long game. People want to know what we're talking about, okay? Review bank statements. I do that every week. Create email newsletter showcasing an engaging story. Do that every week. Schedule some time just for you. So that, yes, it is a checklist item, because sometimes we forget ourselves. It's just true. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is, for example, in my SMART goals, we have increase original art sales by 20%. So here, the sub goals were increase the number of visitors to my webpage by engaging on social media. It's a sub goal. Then I want to have post 1 to 3 new pieces for sale on my shop each week. So you see how those play into that other goal, right? That would result in this type of checklist. Identify 1 to 3 pieces of artwork to list for sale. List 1 to 3 pieces of artwork for sale. Create 3 social media posts per piece of artwork, 1 video, 1 photo, 1 conversation starter. schedule social media posts, create email newsletter announcing the new piece. And so you see what I'm getting at here. And you're probably going, my God, she's writing every single thing that I do. Yes, I am. And I'll tell you why. We are working towards an advanced method that you're going to get to. So it's best to go ahead and get into this habit now, do the work now, because eventually, should you choose, you're going to outsource some of this work. Because do you really want to be doing your social media 5 years from now? You probably want somebody else to handle it. And when you have it documented like this, guess what? You can start assigning people these tasks. And that's when we're going to get into the advanced portion that I'm going to show you in the advanced portion, okay? So in this, what we're going to do, identify 1 to 3 pieces of artwork for sale. Okay, cool, I can do that. And by defining it like that, 1 to 3 pieces, I can then go to my artwork folder that I've been keeping up and see all the pieces that I haven't posted for sale yet and go, okay, I'm going to pick this one, this one, this one. I've defined it. That's all I need to do. I don't need to hee-haw around about it because I've already done the work. Now, and you know, if I don't have it out there in the hard drive or wherever, I know I can take 1 to 3 pieces, photograph it, clean it up, and those become checklist items. 1 to 3. 1 to 3 pieces. I would then say, identify 1 to 3 pieces, photograph it, edit it, and I know that takes me an hour. So again, that's important to understand how much time this is going to take, because sometimes, especially when you're new and you don't know how long these things take, this identify 1 to 3 pieces of art to sell, and then you got to take it in Photoshop to edit it. If you're new with Photoshop, it's going to take you a day, probably at least. As you progress, it's going to take you can get 3 pieces done in an hour. So it's all a matter of how much time you have, and you want to keep track of that because you don't want to over allocate yourself, and that's when the time becomes a burden. Okay, so you may not know the answer to how much time these things take, and we're going to get to that. We're going to actually clock it. So in the part of the next segment, when I actually do this and start answering some of my own questions, you're going to see me do this. Okay? All right. So weekly checklist. All right, so let's go ahead and go back down to my page here, and I'm going to do the work. All right. So I'm going to continue along that one example. And I'm going to start creating my sub-SMART goals. Okay, so that I can get to my weekly checklist. All right, so I've got the SMART goal that I want to create 83 per month in my Redbubble shop. Okay, so that would be, basically, that's one of my SMART goals. Create 83 items. Okay, so you see that's measurable, it's time specific, and the whole thing is very specific. And I know it doesn't cost me anything, so I don't have to worry about cost, okay? So what do I actually need to do? My weekly checklist is then going to be identify, let's see, I need to do 4 pieces. So this is per week, right? So I really only need like one, take one, and I'm going to do 1 to 2 because sometimes you just get things done faster in batches like this. So I'm going to say 1 to 2, and some weeks I might actually not be able to, handle all 4 pieces. So I'm going to put 1 to 2. Sure. Okay, so take 1 to 2 pieces of artwork, okay, and then photograph them and edit to the specs. Okay, so that's one thing I need to do. The other thing I need to do is upload the piece and edit products. Okay, right, and so there's going to be subtasks kind of in that, and I do write all these things. So some of these things, and the reason I write the subtasks is because it helps outline all the things that we need to do in order to achieve the result, uploading the piece. So I'm going to write my descriptions. I need to do the keyword research. If you're not familiar with the keyword research, I would suggest that you go check out the Etsy bootcamp. Yep, and I'll include a link in here. Okay. And what the keyword research does is that basically helps Google, Bing, Yahoo, even Redbubble has SEO. It helps people find you and your artwork, okay? And that's incredibly important. I don't want to skimp on that. And if I don't put it in here, I'm probably going to skimp on it because it's not written, it seems unimportant, but it's written, okay? Okay, so we're going to upload and edit the products. We're going to write our description. We're going to do a keyword research. Then I need to do the social media posts. Create 1 to 3 social media posts. And I get specific. I do 1 video, 1 photo, and 1 conversation starter. So what that is like a video. Well, you know what a video is. It's just a short little like, hey, look at this, type thing. And then the photo is showcasing the piece, kind of talking about it, and very like 5 words or less because people don't read. And then the conversation starter. So if you look at Facebook and just say, if there's like just a sentence there, asking a question like, what would you name this piece? Which do you like better, A, B, C, or D? Which product would you want to give at, or which product would you want to receive for Valentine's Day? And put A, B, C, or D. That's all engaging type conversation. That's all type of photo. That's all type of video. The whole point is to get engagement and get eyes on it. And so I create those social media posts for that. Okay. So you can see the weekly checklist, and this is just to make sure that I get 1 to 2 per week, right? In order to achieve the 83 per month. Because once I do it one time, thankfully with Redbubble, it's like relatively fast. But I don't know exactly how much time this is going to take, and I want to find that out. So that I can still see if this is realistic. We still haven't really defined if it's realistic because we don't know the answer yet. And that's fine. It's fine to have questions. It's great to have questions because when you have those questions, you can get the answers. Okay, so let's see, how many can I get up and how much time does it take? All right, so I'm going to actually find out this answer, and I'm going to kind of fast speed you so you don't have to like sit and actually watch me do all this, and we're going to have like a little clock, okay? All right, so that's what we're going to do next. Let's go actually do the work so that I can dive into these things, okay? Let's go ahead and start defining your sub goals, which was basically those monthly checklists. You're taking those monthly checklists and defining those as your sub goal and then breaking them into your weekly checklists. All right, so let's go ahead and go do that.